Alright, what's going on, everybody? We are live for the college football playoff rankings. Gonna get revealed within the next few minutes. And gonna be very interesting to see what they do. Obviously, a lot of debate on the final few spots between Alabama, Miami, and Notre Dame. I'm on a little bit later than I wanted to be, so sorry about that. Now trying to get the rankings on. But welcome to the stream, everybody. Let me know what you guys think. Who the final 3 teams should be. Let me pull up the chat. And then I'll talk about what I would do. Sorry, I am on a little bit later than I wanted to be. Alright. So let's see. I would go Indiana. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense. They're the only undefeated team in the country. They just beat Ohio State last night. 2 seed. I like Ohio State. They're going to have Georgia, though. They're going to have Georgia, too. I'd probably put Ohio State. Not really a huge deal. 3 seed is going to be who they don't put at 2, either Ohio State or Georgia. Probably Ohio State be 3. And then 4 through 8, I think stays the same. Texas Tech 4. 5 would be... Let me pull up what the rankings were. Oregon was 5? Yeah, 5 to Oregon, 6 Ole Miss, 7 Texas A&M, 8 Oklahoma. Then 9, 10, and 11 and 12 we know is Tulane and James Madison. But 9 and 10, obviously it was Notre Dame. Then Alabama. Sorry, it was Alabama, then Notre Dame. I would go Notre Dame as the 9 seed, Miami as the 10 seed, and Alabama would be the first team out as the 11 seed. That's what I would go. I mean, I know there's a lot of debate on that, on how much Alabama should fall for losing the SEC title game yesterday. But, if it was close, I could see dropping them like a spot. But they got blown out, so I think they should fall quite a bit. But, you look at Alabama, because now they've got 3 losses. They're also looking to become the first team in playoff history to make it with... to make it with 3 losses as a non-conference champion. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. And, Indiana is also now going to be the 1 seed, which really changes things. Because now, as obviously Notre Dame fan, I've been saying the entire time, I'd rather be the 10 and have to go to the 7, so I don't have to play Ohio State in the second round. Now let's just go with the 9, so we can go to the 8 and play Indiana in the second round. Obviously, Indiana is still a really good team, but that's just my thinking. But I'm going to pull it up right now. I don't think they've updated the strength of schedule stuff, even though wish they did. When it comes to strength of rankings, strength of schedule, all that stuff. Let me refresh this page, see if they updated it. I don't think they did. No, maybe they did. They did update it. Okay. How does this make any sense at all? Okay. So Notre Dame's strength of schedule was 42. Miami's was 44. Now Notre Dame's strength of schedule is 44, and Miami's strength of schedule is 45. When Miami didn't have any of their opponents play yesterday, and Notre Dame had Boise State play, and they won and beat UNLV by 17 points on Friday night. So that makes no sense. But, Notre Dame and Miami, they're still right next to each other. According to strength of record, Notre Dame's 13, Miami's 14. Strength of schedule, Notre Dame's 44, Miami's 45. And game control, Notre Dame is 5, Miami 6. And then, I don't know what this stands for. Let's see. A, average win probability. That's the team's average in-game win probability. Adjusted, I don't really know what that means. We're just going to skip that for now. But you've got and then I mean you compare Alabama. I think they're way too high in this. They got their strength of record right now is 10 compared to Notre Dame at 13 and Miami at 14. And you've got Alabama's got the best strength of schedule of those three. I mean that's not really a debate, but they've also now lost 3 games, so I don't understand how their strength of record can be that high. Because they just haven't been that good. Especially recently. When you look at what Alabama's done recently, they just have not been that good. They barely beat... They got destroyed by Georgia this week, yesterday. Then the week before, they barely beat a 5-7 Auburn team. The week before that, they beat Eastern Illinois. The week before that, they lost to Oklahoma. And then the week before that, what did they do? Oh, they beat LSU by 9 points. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I do not believe Alabama should make the college football playoff. And if they don't, it's going to be the second year in a row where they're the first team out after... the first team as an at-large that misses the playoff. Because last year, obviously, SMU got in over them, which was the right call. This year, Notre Dame and Miami should both get in over them. But it's going to be very interesting to see what the committee ends up doing. I was going to make graphics to put up on the screen, but I've ran out of time. So, sorry about that. You guys are just going to have to see me here and nothing else up on the screen. Maybe I'll bring up a bracket after it's all revealed, but not now. But you've got the 5 conference champions. I guess there is a debate of Duke and James Madison. I don't really think so. I mean, Duke has played a significantly harder schedule. They've got the best win of them. But I don't really think that's really a huge debate because, I mean, James Madison, they're 12-1. Duke is 8-5. That's a 4-game difference. I mean, I know James Madison's strength of schedule is 123, and Duke is... Let me find it. Duke is 74, but, I mean, still. Duke is 8-5. I don't really see how Duke would make the playoff. I mean, they even have Kennesaw State with a better strength of record as a conference champion as opposed to Duke. Kennesaw State is 48. Duke is 54. See, Duke might even be the 3rd conference champion to not make it, or the 2nd champion to miss it. Kennesaw State could even be the 6th team. Although, I mean, the 6th team doesn't even matter. The 6th conference champion, that is. But let me... I was just going to say something. Now I don't remember what it was. But they're going to go over the rankings in a few minutes. They're going through all the reporters in each spot. They've got somebody Alabama, Notre Dame, Miami, Duke, and James Madison. But now, if it's anything to what the AP poll looked like when it came out today. The AP poll, I mean, not like that even matters at this point. It was Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama, BYU. That's the top 12. And you obviously take out Alabama, BYU, and replace them with Tulane, and then James Madison. That is the right decision. I believe the AP poll got it right. Now, obviously, the AP poll is, like, not really that credible at all, because it's just a poll of a bunch of people who, half of them don't even know what they're talking about. but it is definitely the right decision for what the AP poll did. Now we'll have to see if the playoff committee does the same thing. Now I think they're gonna go 1 to 12. I think that's what they did last year. I like how they revealed the entire rankings, like they've done literally the entire season. I don't like how they switch up how they do things. I would still go from 25 to 1 so you can see the entire rankings. But that's the way they do things for the final reveal. But going back to the Alabama versus a Notre Dame or Miami debate, Alabama's also got the worst loss. I mean, Alabama has 2 losses that are worse than Notre Dame's 2 losses. Because, I mean, yes, I would argue Georgia's loss, the loss to Georgia yesterday, is a lot worse. The Georgia loss and the Florida State loss for Alabama are worse than Notre Dame's 2 losses by 4 points. I mean, yes, Alabama does have some good wins. Like, they beat Vanderbilt and they beat Georgia. But I feel like the Georgia win loses a little bit after yesterday. And yes, they have a win over Vanderbilt. That's a good win. They also beat Missouri, who was ranked 14th at the time, and Tennessee was ranked 11th when they played them. But that's completely irrelevant now because they're not ranked. Because it matters. It doesn't matter when you play them. It doesn't matter if they're ranked when you play them. It matters if they're ranked right now. Alright, let's see. I think we're going to get them right here. Alright, so the rankings have come in. They're currently making all their graphics. Boy. So they're going to go to commercial, and we'll get the rankings after. So, I mean, it's going to be really interesting. Alright, we got 3 minutes. Let's make a graphic real quick. I just don't want to make it and then have it be wrong, and have to remake it again. Alright, let's see. Ohio State. No. Indiana's the 1 seed. I have one made because I always do my rankings every week. And I just use this. Alright, so Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State. Texas Tech is the 4 seed. Who's the 5 seed? Oregon's the 5. 6 seed is Ole Miss. 7 seed A&M right here. 8 seed would be Oklahoma. 9 seed Notre Dame. 10 seed is not Alabama. Gotta fix that. 10 seed would be Miami. So there's the 10 seed. Alright, let's see. Then the 11 seed is Tulane. Nope, that's the wrong one. Hold on. I'm just talking through this. Hold on. Now I gotta find where I put the Virginia logo. Alright, so this probably isn't gonna look great, but it's something. Let me pull this up. I just gotta transfer it to the other computer now. Alright, we're gonna get the rankings in a minute. I said I wasn't going to make a graphic, but I did, so. There we go. Gonna move it to this side. Is that big enough? Does that look good? Alright, how's that look? So that is what we think the bracket's gonna look like. Obviously, if it's wrong, I'll fix it. But that is what we think the bracket should look like right now. So let's see how right we are. I mean, I would tweak it around a little bit. But that is what it's probably going to look like. So we'll see if it does end up looking like that. Is that big enough? Can you guys see that good? Hopefully. Alright. So now, as a Notre Dame fan, I'm feeling pretty good right now. I think we should be in. I'd be very surprised if we're not. I think we should be above Miami as the 9 seed. I'd be pretty surprised if we missed the playoffs. I mean, I think we're pretty much a lock at this point. It is just hilarious that Notre Dame and Miami fans have been going at it on Twitter for like the last month. And now we should both make the playoff. And Alabama should miss out. Especially with how Alabama's playing recently as well. Their last 4 games, they've not been playing too well. Yeah, I saw a comparison on Twitter of Notre Dame, Alabama, and Miami over their last 4 games. Let me pull that up. Hold on, let me find it. Alright, I got it. But we're going to get the rankings, so I'll go over that in a minute. Because I'm sure they're going to pause in between each one. But we obviously got the 5 conference champions and the next 7 highest ranked teams. The 1 seed is Indiana, as expected. The only undefeated team in college football. They won the Big Ten. They beat Ohio State last night. They get the 1 seed. And they will head to a bowl game. Either the... I can't see what that says. Either the Cotton Bowl, Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, or Sugar Bowl. They would obviously get the first choice, I believe, because they're the 1 seed. But we'll have to see. The 2 seed here you would expect to be Georgia. It could be Ohio State. I personally think Ohio State is better. But it could be, or probably will be Georgia. It's Ohio State. Okay, I like that. I like Ohio State as the number 2 seed. They lost a close game, a 3-point game, to now the number 1 team in the country. I like having Ohio State right there at number 2. I thought it would be Georgia, but I do like having Ohio State as the 2 seed. Obviously, they did lose last night to Indiana, but they should have won that game. They missed a 27-yard field goal with like 3 minutes left. They should have they had a chance to win that game. They lost by 3 to the number 1 team in the country. I like only having them drop a spot. Now the 3 seed is going to be Georgia. I'd be pretty surprised if Texas Tech jumps them, especially because they both dominated. Georgia was already above Texas Tech. So it should be Texas Tech, Georgia then Texas Tech for the last 2 first-round buys. There's Georgia's the 3 seed. Obviously beat Alabama yesterday 28-7. They avenged their loss from earlier in the season. And they dominated. I mean, 28-7. The defense was great. The offense, I don't really think was amazing, but they were pretty good. But But yeah, Georgia, they looked good yesterday. They were the 3 seed. And then Texas Tech going to be the 4 and get the final first round bye. So then Texas Tech is the 4 seed. So they won the Big 12. They get the final first round bye. So the teams with the byes, we got 3 conference champions and Ohio State. Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech. I think they got the order right. Obviously, know some people are going to disagree. They think Georgia should be above Ohio State. I like the way they did it. Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech. Now the 5 seed, probably going to be Oregon. They were the 5 seed last week. They're currently 11-1. There was really no reason for them to move at all. I mean, none of the teams 5 through 8 played. I mean, I'm expecting 5 through 8 to just stay the same. Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma. And there is Oregon as the number 5 seed. The first home team revealed. They'll play most likely James Madison in the first round. Oregon, they're 11-1. Strength of record is 4. Strength of schedule is 17. We've got wins at Iowa, at Washington, and against USC. But they've been playing really well. Their only loss is to Indiana. It was a 10-point loss at home. Then the 6th seed, probably going to be Ole Miss. Now, I like A&M over Ole Miss. I don't think they should have dropped Texas A&M that far. But it is Ole Miss 6th seed. There's just no reason to change that order right now. So it makes a lot of sense. They keep it how they had it, with Ole Miss as the 6th seed, and then Texas A&M going to be the 7. Obviously, no Lane Kiffin for Ole Miss, but the committee's still keeping them up high. Their only loss is at Georgia, which, I mean, looks pretty good. They've also got a win at Oklahoma. Are we really putting against LSU as a key win on here? LSU's like 7-5. But Ole Miss is the 6th seed, and you would expect Texas A&M to be the 7, and Oklahoma as the 8. And interesting, if Ole Miss wins their first round matchup against most likely Tulane, they're going to face Georgia in the second round. And then there is Texas A&M as the 7 seed. They'll get a home game at Kyle Field. Obviously, they won 11 straight to start the year. They lost last week against Texas. But they are in the college football playoff. They're going to get a home game against Miami, Alabama, or Notre Dame. I think it should be against Miami. Obviously, that's what we've got up on the screen right now. Yes, I know the first 4 seeds order is wrong. So I'll fix that in a minute. The 8th seed is going to be most likely Oklahoma. And Oklahoma is the number 8 seed. The first 2-loss team, the highest ranked 2-loss team. Okay, now it's time to get a little worried here. We should be ranked number 9. Notre Dame should be 9. Miami should be 10. Alabama should not make the playoff. But Oklahoma is the highest ranked 2-loss team in the country. They went to Alabama and won. And let's see who the number 9 seed is. I'm so nervous. I think it should be Notre Dame, but let's see. Nine seed will go to Oklahoma, and they're going to compare right here. Good luck. You're sure they'll make it in. I'm pretty confident we'll make it in, but I just don't know if I completely trust the committee to do the right thing, especially after they dropped Notre Dame last week when they beat Stanford by 29 and Alabama beat Auburn by 7. So let's see. The number 9 seed here. Going to Oklahoma in the first round. Alabama's the 9 seed? How do you not drop Alabama? How does Alabama stay at number 9? They got absolutely blown out yesterday. How do you not drop them? They shouldn't even be in the playoff. So now Notre Dame's got to be the 10, right? Because then if Alabama's not dropping for a loss, BYU's not dropping for a loss, Notre Dame should still be ahead of Miami. If they get this wrong, I mean, they already did by putting Alabama in at number 8 or 9. I have no idea how. They have a blowout loss against Georgia. They lost by 14 against a 5-7 Florida State. And they're still going to make the playoff. And now the 10 seed here going to go to Texas A&M in the first round. How is Bama at 9? I have no idea. Notre Dame should be at 9. I'm very nervous about this right now. Because if they drop BYU for losing a blowout, but not Alabama, and then they jump Miami over Notre Dame, that is a major problem. That is not good. Alabama should not be in the college ball playoff. So now it's Notre Dame or Miami for the final spot. And it's Miami. Are you serious? How? How does Miami make the playoff over Notre Dame? We got absolutely robbed. There is no way Alabama should be in the playoff and Miami should be in the playoff over Notre Dame. And even if you want to respect the head-to-head right now, Alabama should not be in the playoff. I have no idea how. I mean, Notre Dame, they got a harder strength of schedule, like the better strength of record. I get it's close. And Miami's got the head-to-head. Miami lost to 2 unranked teams. Notre Dame lost to 2 playoff teams by 4 points. In the first 2 games of the year, they've won 10 in a row by an average of about 30 points. And there is just no way Alabama and Miami are in the playoff ahead of Notre Dame. So yeah, the 11 seed is going to be Tulane, the 12 seed is James Madison. How do we not make the playoff? I don't get it. And then how do you punish BYU for losing but not Alabama? Yeah, Alabama didn't even drop. I mean, Alabama... I don't get it. Alabama and BYU played the exact same type of game. They both got absolutely destroyed by a top 4 team in the country. And BYU drops, but Alabama didn't. Tulane is the 11 seed, ranked number 20. So Tulane is at 20, their first playoff appearance, and the James Madison is going to be the probably ranked like 20 22nd or 23rd as the 12th seed, and they'll go to Oregon. Now, we're not going to get to know the rest of the rankings now, I don't think. They're going to show the first and second team out. So that's going to probably be BYU. Or it's going to be Notre Dame and then BYU. James Madison does make the playoff, ranked 24th. And they get the 12th seed, they'll go to Oregon. So the ACC champion gets left out, but the ACC still gets a team in with Miami. This makes zero sense. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there's no way that Notre Dame should not be in the college ball playoff, and Alabama and Miami both are. So there is Notre Dame as the first team out of the college football playoff. And BYU is the second. So they're not going to tell us where Notre Dame and BYU are ranked. But obviously Notre Dame is above BYU. You would assume Notre Dame is 11, BYU is 12. So then Miami jumps up 2 spots for not playing. That does not make any sense. You have Miami. Alabama was 9. Miami was 12. Alabama stays at 9 for getting blown out. Notre Dame falls from 10 to 11. And Miami jumps up 2 spots for not playing. I just don't get how you punish BYU and drop them, but not Alabama. I do not get it. Let me make an updated graphic. Well, if Alabama now is the just got to reorder them. I don't get it. Let me pull that up. Give me 1 second. Like, obviously, yeah, I get it that Miami and Notre Dame played. But, I mean, that's not even the problem right now. The problem is Alabama. And the fact that they didn't even move down at all. I'm very surprised we missed the playoff. Alright, let's get the other bracket in here. Alright. Yeah, I have no idea how you can do that. How do you drop Alabama? Or how do you not drop Alabama, but you drop BYU? Like, I get you don't want to punish teams for playing the extra game. But, I mean, I feel like you have to. If you're going to get rewarded for playing the extra game, you got to get punished for playing the extra game. It just doesn't make any sense. You'll still tune in for your playoff stream. Sorry your team won't be there. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be streaming probably every playoff game. I'm going to try to stream every playoff game I can. I'm definitely going to stream. The only games I'm not sure about is the first round games. I might have something where I can't stream that day, where I'm not sure. But otherwise, I'll be streaming pretty much every playoff game. I mean, I wonder if... I don't want to compare this to a Miami-Notre Dame situation because it's not, even though it apparently is. It's Alabama against Notre Dame and Miami. But... this makes no sense. I mean, you look at the other conference championship losers, right? You've got BYU drops. They drop to, you would assume, obviously we don't know their exact ranking, but you would think they fall from 11 to 12. You've got Alabama doesn't fall. Ohio State dropped a spot. And we don't know how far Virginia fell for losing to Duke, or how far North Texas fell. But you have Ohio State fall a spot. You have BYU fall a spot. BYU should probably fall... I mean, you could make the argument they should fall more than a spot. And you have Alabama stay the exact same spot. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, you could make the argument that Ohio State just moves down because Indiana moves up, but there is no reason to not move down Alabama when they got destroyed by they got destroyed by Georgia. Like, every single conference champion falls. Except Alabama. I'm very surprised we did not make the playoff. You can't do it one way, not the other. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no way you can... And I mean, it's not like you can even make the argument that Alabama, they lost a close game. They got blown out yesterday. And they got blown out. And they definitely deserve to fall. I mean, even if we go back to last year's rankings and compare what teams did when they lost the conference championship game. You had Texas, they fell a spot. Penn State fell a spot. I mean, you could make the argument that both those teams are just falling a spot because they lost, because Georgia's moving up because they beat Texas. That's fine. But you had Texas and Penn State fall a spot. You had SMU fall 2 spots because they lost to Clemson. Now, they lost a close game, but obviously Clemson was only ranked 16th at that point. You had Iowa State also fall 2 spots, and they lost by like 20 against Arizona State. That game was, 45-19, so more than 20. it just makes no sense. I mean, even if you want to go back to 2023, I mean, I know that is not really quite as accurate because that's a 14 playoff as opposed to a 14 playoff as opposed to a 12-team playoff, so it's a little bit different. But I mean, it's the same idea. If you get blown out in a conference championship game, you have to drop. As a Bama fan, we should not have made the playoff. We got blown out. Exactly. I mean, I don't get it. I've seen multiple Alabama fans say that now. You're not even the first one. I mean, Alabama, they did not play well in the beginning of the year. They did not play well at the end of the year. They were good in the middle of the year. When they went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh, hold on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-game winning streak. And in the last 2 games, that winning streak wasn't even that good. They barely beat South Carolina, a game they probably should have lost. And they beat LSU by 11. But, alright, real quick, going back to even the 2023 rankings. You look at the losers of conference championship games. Oregon, they fell 3 spots for losing to Washington in the Pac-12 championship game. Georgia fell 5 spots for their first loss of the year after they lost to Alabama in the SEC title game. Florida State obviously fell a spot that year. Louisville, they fell 1 spot for losing a close game to a Florida State team, their 3rd-string quarterback. And I think Iowa played in the Big Ten championship game that year. They also fell a spot. But Alabama becomes the first 3-loss team as a non-conference champion to make the college football playoff. It's just crazy. But I mean, if you want to talk about the actual playoff, not who made it, I mean, you look at the current bracket, I mean, I don't know, I like Texas Tech to make the semifinals, although, I mean, that matchup between them and Oregon is going to be pretty good, though. The one thing with the 2 group of 5s getting in, although, I mean, I think this would have been the same thing even if Virginia got in, I don't think Oregon, James Madison, or Ole Miss and Tulane is close. We already saw Ole Miss destroy Tulane earlier in the year, and Oregon, they have just blown everybody out. Like, Oregon, their 1 loss is a 10-point loss to Indiana. I mean, they beat USC by 15. They beat Washington by 12. I think both those teams might be better than Tulane. And then, I don't really think that game's close. And we already saw Ole Miss beat Tulane 45-10. So I don't really think that game's going to be that close either. Oregon barely beat Penn State, though. That was when we thought Penn State was good. I mean, yeah, looking back on it, going to overtime against Penn State, we ended up going, 6-6? That is not great, but, I mean, that was also a big game at the time. Yeah, Penn State went 6-6. They beat Iowa by 2 points. Alright, so maybe I'm giving Oregon a little bit too much credit, but I mean, I still think they're a good team. Like, you look at they beat Iowa by 2, but that's also just what Iowa does. They play a lot of close games. But you look at what else Oregon has done. I mean, I just think they should be able to have their way against James Madison. Because they're going to be able to shut down the James Madison run game. Even though James Madison's defense is good, Oregon should be able to score. I mean, Oregon, they only beat Wisconsin by 14. They only beat Iowa by 2. But otherwise, They looked pretty good. And of course, the SEC gets in for Alabama. It makes no sense. They're the only conference champ that didn't fall. Who do you think beats Indiana on their end of the bracket? Well, let me pull it up on here so I can see it a little bit bigger. Is that big enough for you guys on the screen? Hopefully. What a bummer, dude. Hope the rest of your day is better for you. Catch you next time. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's not going to be good watching the college football playoff knowing Notre Dame should be in. And they're not. But yeah, I'll still be streaming it. Watching all the games. And everything. But yeah, thank you for watching. But, alright, so you got the bracket. You've got, I like Oregon to beat James Madison. Obviously, just talked about that. Alabama, Oklahoma, we already saw that. I mean, that is a real interesting matchup. Because, I mean, I don't really think either team's playing that well. You've got Alabama beating, or Oklahoma beat Alabama in Alabama, but Oklahoma's offense isn't that great. About the bracket? What do you mean? I'm confused. I'm just going through it all right now, but we'll get to the Indiana side in a second. Alright, here, this is the Indiana side. So you've got Indiana and Texas Tech, the two teams to get a bye. Then I like Oregon, and I don't really think it really matters who wins Alabama, Oklahoma. I think Indiana beats either team. We just saw Indiana be able to win a defensive game yesterday against Ohio State. That's the type of game you would expect against Oklahoma. And Alabama, they're just not playing that well. So I think Indiana should be able to make the semis. I mean, it's just weird. I still don't know how good Indiana is. Like, they look really good, but I don't know if they're truly an elite national championship team. Although, they did seem to show that last night. But it's going to be, I would expect it to be Indiana and either Oregon or Texas Tech in the or in the semis, sorry. I could see either of those three teams go to the national championship game. And I would fully expect Ohio State to come out of the bottom half of the bracket. Or, yeah, the bottom half. Because, I mean, you look at what they have. You've got Ole Miss and Tulane. Ole Miss should win that game easily. They already won. They already won by 35. I don't really think that game's that close again. That sets up an Ole Miss-Georgia rematch. Which, I'd probably go Georgia, but you never know. Anything can happen. And A&M and Miami, both interesting. Miami's probably got the defense, but going to Kyle Field in a playoff game, I'd probably go A&M. I think we'll see. It's going to be Ohio State in the championship game against either Indiana, Texas Tech, or Oregon. You have to the bracket was big enough before you signed off. You're responding to that question. Oh, I get it. Well, I'm not necessarily talking about the bracket, like, being big enough. Like, you can always expand the bracket, although I don't really think you can expand it too far. Because eventually you're just going to have every single team on the planet get in. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry, I confused myself. But, I mean, I think Indiana's got a pretty easy path to the semifinals. Obviously, they got the bye, and then Alabama, Oklahoma, neither team's playing that well. I like having Indiana in the semifinals. Man, Oregon, Texas Tech might be like the game of the playoff. That would be so good. The best first round game is definitely Miami, Texas A&M. Wonder when we know the times for these games. Obviously, the first round we got a Friday night game, and then you've got 12, 3:30, 7:30 for the games on Saturday that day. But I don't know who's playing when yet. No worries. I think Indiana's a stout team that plays really hard knock football. Yeah, Indiana, they're a really good team. They're talking 100 euro check right now. I mean, that guy has no idea what he's talking about. I'm not even watching. I'm trying to figure out. Looking at the bracket right now. I'll go back and listen to what he says later. I mean, I think Ohio State still has a good chance to win the national championship. I mean, they didn't play their best game last night. Offense wasn't very good. But the defense is one of the top two in the country. Either them or Indiana. I like Ohio State against either Indiana, Texas Tech, or Oregon. Just makes no sense. Hold on, he's talking about Alabama right now. So he's saying, regardless of what Alabama did yesterday, they felt what they did through the first 12 games was good enough. So they completely ignored yesterday's game for only Alabama. I'm going to go back and see what he says for the... But, I mean, this makes no sense. But you've got Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, the four teams that get the bye. Then the 5 through 8 seeds playing at home: Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma. And you got Alabama going to Oklahoma, Miami going to Texas A&M, Tulane going to Ole Miss, and James Madison going to Oregon. Alright, I want to rewatch the ranking and hear what they have to say as soon as I'm done streaming. But I'll probably end this stream within the next few minutes. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how everything plays out. As far as what bowl games they're going to, I think you get to pick what bowl game you go to if you're a top 4 seed. Obviously, Indiana gets the first choice. And Miami, if they do make it to the national championship game, that game in Miami, so they would get a home game. Or they can get a home game at the Orange Bowl as well, if they beat Texas A&M, depending on where Ohio State ends up playing. I mean, if you're Texas Tech, you obviously got to want to go to the Cotton Bowl in Texas, but I don't know where. They would end up going. Yeah, Miami. I mean, I don't think they go to the championship game. I don't even think they win the first round, but And just something to note. They will get a home game in potentially the Orange Bowl if they play in the Orange Bowl, and the championship game if they make it there. I don't think either of those things is that likely, but it's just a possibility. But if you're Indiana, I mean, you really don't have a regional advantage to any of the games. You can go to the Sugar Bowl down in New Orleans. You can go to the Rose Bowl all the way out west, the Orange Bowl in Miami, or you can go to the Cotton Bowl in Texas. I mean, Indiana might just go to the Rose Bowl. If you're Ohio State, it's like the same thing. Georgia would probably want to go to the Peach Bowl, but that's a semifinal game, so never mind. They'd want to go to the Sugar Bowl. That's where they were last year, though, and they lost. But I don't know when that gets announced, when the game times are, and all that stuff. Let's see if they've announced times yet. Probably not. I don't really remember that coming out. Oh, we did. Okay, they put Alabama, Oklahoma at the Friday night game. Interesting. Then A&M and Miami are at 12 on Saturday. Tulane and Ole Miss are at 3:30 on Saturday. And James Madison and Oregon are at 7:30 on Saturday. Why would you put them in primetime as opposed to A&M and Miami? That makes no sense. I think it makes a lot more sense if you put Texas A&M as the 7:30 game. Whatever. Alright, let's see. This says Ohio State is going to the Cotton Bowl. Is Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl? Wait, I've refreshed the page. Now it doesn't show anything anymore. Alright, so Ohio State is going to be in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, or technically Arlington. And so I would imagine Indiana's going to the Rose Bowl. Tulane beats Ole Miss by at least 7. You heard it here first, folks. Wow. That's a bold prediction. I'm going to come back to that if that actually happens. But that would be quite the upset. Going to Ole Miss and winning. Especially after they lost by 35 at Ole Miss before. But it looks like Ohio State's in the Rose Bowl. And I don't. Why is that the only game that has been announced? I'm not sure. Let me see if I can find anything on Twitter. Give me 1 second. As far as a bowl game for Notre Dame, I mean, maybe you can get Notre Dame BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Yeah, you got to go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl over playing for national championship. So that's a terrible decision. Yeah, so Ohio State is in the Cotton Bowl. Georgia's in the Sugar Bowl. Makes sense. They play Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl, assuming Ole Miss wins. Although if Tulane wins, they practically got a home game. But it is Tulane, so. Indiana is in the Rose Bowl, and Texas Tech's in the Orange Bowl. Interesting. I don't really think any team would have a major advantage. Oh, wait a minute. If A&M wins, they're playing in Texas for the second round against Ohio State. That's a big advantage right there. And then the winner of the Ohio State-Georgia side of the bracket, in the semifinals, they'll go to the Fiesta Bowl. And the Indiana-Texas Tech side will go to the Peach Bowl. But yeah, a very interesting reveal. I'm gonna be streaming hopefully every playoff game. Obviously, I'm not sure about the games on the first round on Saturday. I might have something where I can't stream, but I'm definitely going to stream that Friday night for Alabama, Oklahoma. I'm going to stream every other game besides that, hopefully. The only things I might not be able to stream at all that Saturday. But otherwise, I'm going to be streaming. I would like to stream every playoff game. So that is going to be the plan. But I'll let you guys know exactly what happens, obviously, before I start streaming. Alright, but I think that's where I'm going to end this stream. A brutal rankings from the committee. Keeping Alabama in. And not punishing them at all. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end this stream. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I did not like the rankings very much, as I'm sure you guys noticed. But I'm going to be live tonight for Sunday Night Football. Be streaming tomorrow for Monday Night Football. I'm going to have a lot of content on the way. I'll have playoff predictions out at some point. I'm probably going to wait till it gets a little bit closer to actually put out my predictions. Hold on, let me see when I put out my playoff predictions last year. I think I probably did maybe the Tuesday before the playoffs started. Let's see. Let's see. Playoff predictions. Last year we put them out the December 19th. Oh, so we put them out Thursday last year. As in the day before the playoffs started. But yeah, we'll see when I'm going to put them out. I'll have them out sometime. I think I might wait a little bit for that, but we'll see. I'm going to have college football awards coming out sometime this week. Got a lot of content on the way, so be sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss it. And obviously, I'll be live tonight for Sunday Night Football, tomorrow for Monday Night Football, and a lot more content upcoming. But yeah, that's going to do it for this stream, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If your team's in the college football playoff, good luck. And yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.